This is another interesting industrial component from China. They presumably have a lot of cranes in China because eBay has a lot of crane controllers. And they describe these as waterproof, I'd say. Well, some of them describe them as waterproof and rainproof. I think rainproof's a decent description, although you'd have to get a cable that fairly closely fitted in this grommet. Maybe they do the grommets in different sizes for different cables. However, it's got 8 buttons. It's got an on-off function whereby this on button latches, and when you press the off button, it pops that one back out. It's just a latching on-off. I'm guessing it's just to... I don't know if that's just to enable the whole pad in case, you know, I don't see people bumping the buttons accidentally. It could just be a safety feature. In case I have seen situations where a short circuit in a control system actually resulted in unwanted movement, so maybe that's just a last resort extra thing. Then it's got 3 pairs of buttons. This one apparently, I already mustered together a bit of Chinese for this thing, so these mean up and down, and these may mean north, south, east and west, I'm not 100% sure. But they're wired as, they're installed as pairs, and each pair is interlocked mechanically. When you push one down, the other pops up. You can't press both down simultaneously because they are physically rocking. That's maybe just to make the control system of the crane simpler. So I've removed most of the screws from this. It's got a lot of screws because it does at least make an attempt to keep the water out. So I'll remove the 2 that are currently holding it together. And the back comes off. The back comes off to reveal a cable grip in here. And the seal, now I have to say the seal, I would preferred it if the seal had not been slightly open at the top. I'd rather that bit had been at the bottom, so if water does get in, it's hanging vertically, the water could get back out again maybe, but I don't know if that's super critical. I'm not 100% sure. Here are the switch blocks, and they all use a common bus bar that runs all the way down the control circuit feed. And you can take these out. The way they go in, you've got your power goes onto this, your common control line. It's got the terminals for, like, this is the power, the on-off feed going back up for the control circuit, and then you've got the, you know, just one terminal for each of the functions. But if you unscrew these, they seem to go in a sequence. I think you have to start from the bottom and work your way up if you were building it, but vice versa for disassembling it. But when you remove the linking screw that joins the bus bar together, and then you take this out. Oh, this is really springy. This might just pop out completely. I've not had this particular section of the switch out yet. Okay. So what it's got this standard spring with a pin through it to provide the spring-loaded action against this sliding pin. And then the contacts, it's got 2 ramps. Oh, I can lift that out. Oh, there is a rubber seal at the back, so that when that's clamped in, the rubber seal does make a connection to that. I've just actually popped that out. Oh, I've really popped it out. Okay, I'll work that out later. But when you actually push these in, one has the ramp with a little notch in it to latch, and the other one just has a slightly longer ramp that when you push it in, it won't latch, but it unlocks the other one. And this one does have this unpopulated contact plate. I thought it quite odd initially that the contacts are just, they're used to stop the button popping out. Really, when the button's put in, they put the contact plate through and that's what holds it in place. And these are spring-loaded contacts, as is normally the case. And I thought it odd that they come in contact with this metal plate, but in reality, when you press the button in, it clears the metal. The first thing that happens is it clears that metal plate, and then it goes up and it presses across the bus bar and the contact, the outgoing contact. The other ones that have the cantilever function, I shall actually just push that lot into a little pile so I don't mix all the bits up. So let's disconnect the next bus bar section. I'm not taking all the switches out because they're all the same after this. Now, although it's got Chinese symbols, I believe the covers pop off and you can change that to whatever symbols you want. You can just put in little printed discs, or you could just write it in, I suppose. I don't know if that's actually printed or if it is little paper discs. I suppose you could flip them over. So in this case we've got the contacts here that when you push it in, it bridges between the bus bar and the outgoing contact. Plus we've also got a little seesaw in here, little metal pin put down there, and the little seesaw plate that just makes sure that if you try pushing both in, you can't push them both in together. They do that sort of seesaw thing. And again, it's got these contacts that are just sitting back against the metal. It's a very simple construction, but I suppose it works quite well. If you look inside and you think, oh, it looks a bit, you know, cheap and tacky in a way, I did buy some expensive ones from a UK supplier for some scissor lifts, and they had exactly the same sort of arrangement inside, so it seems fairly common. Now what about these little covers? Am I going to be able to get that off? Yes. Is it a wee disc or no? It's printed. I'm guessing that makes sense that it's printed because the Chinese are the biggest. You know, it's this designed for them, so to speak. But you could put the little discs in, or you could just rebadge it whichever you wanted. It means that you can put in absolutely anything, I suppose. Yeah, it's this very simple construction. It's very neat, in a way. So looking at the top, you've got the cable grip, which is two layers of metal, and then it's got the screws going through to actually clamp around the cable, and they're both curved. And then you've got two metal plates in here with the threaded hole in them for holding the cable gland. And I'm guessing the way this cable gland works, it stands a wee bit proud that as it screws in, it crimps down, it closes, much like a standard cable gland closing, you know, the standard stuffing gland things for cables. But I'm not 100% sure. It's I think you'd have to, I don't think there's going to be that much movement when it closes in, so I think you'd have to really size this for the cables you're going to use, or I was going to say put heat shrink around thinner cables, but even heat shrink with the adhesive lining, it never really 100% seals. I'd be worried about water coming down the cable. And then again, you could use amalgamating tape around this, I suppose. I'd want to seal it so water didn't go down the inside, basically. Oop, little avalanche. Once you've done that, taken that off, the little metal plates are actually not locked in any way, they're just loose. And when you drop them in, they don't automatically, the holes don't line up for putting the screws straight in. So it takes you have to just nudge it a wee bit to actually get those screws in initially. But having said that, it's not that bad. It's just a simple functional device. It's quite neat. So if you're looking for a control station, just especially for indoor use, then this looks actually quite robust and serviceable. But yeah, it's pretty interesting.